What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sending the military into blue states to make them behave. Getting Gavin Newsom under control, getting J.P. Pritzker under control.
What are you
making
talking about?
Okay, so in this video, you will be witnessing all of the meltdowns and hate on Donald Trump before his inauguration. Now, you might be watching this video after he has officially been sworn in, but I want to give you the context of how wild it has been in the media to try and make Donald Trump look terrible and make Joe Biden and Kamala Harris look great. Now, real quick, before we start this video, please like the video. When you guys like the video, everybody else gets to see these meltdowns. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and let's take a look back into the past.
I don't want to be bringing back waterboarding. I don't want to be a country that tortures people, especially if we're the kind of country that's going to be using the military against our own citizens.
Well, wait,
this kind of thing concerns me.
What do you mean use against our own citizens?
I'm talking about
you
sending...
said blue states behave. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sending the military into blue states to make them behave. Getting Gavin Newsom under control, getting J.P. Pritzker under control.
What are you
making
talking about? What do you mean? Like sitting into the state capitol to commandeer the state government?
I still can't believe CNN and other news networks were really trying to push this narrative that Donald Trump is going to use the U.S. military on American citizens and our elected officials in order to get his way. Just to give you guys some context on what they're fighting about, you don't hear this narrative too much because it's a ridiculous narrative, but that is what was going on when this clip was being played at the time.
13 service members' families, the time of day.
Dude,
time of day.
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely, despite he has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just,
of course I am. I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that when they made that decision.
It doesn't matter. When you don't admit that Donald Trump hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied. It's not over. It'll never be over.
This clip by far is your most requested and most favorite clip on this YouTube channel as far as reactions on this channel. Many of you guys cannot stand this clip because the bald gentleman is just spewing lies and Scott Jennings is like, you're still campaigning, you're still campaigning. Now I'm going to play this clip towards the end of the argument where Scott Jennings once again is hilarious.
Well, I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision.
Your petty insults are so weak, dude. You have no idea. Like, I don't even understand if you hear yourself talking. Look, you can laugh all you want, but like, I can't read a chart. Like, it's just so hacky. It's so uninteresting.
Look, the reason that we brought this up is because
the irony of calling Scott Jennings hacky, and again, I'm not even trying to be biased here. I am a conservative. Scott Jennings is the conservative on CNN, but calling him hacky is so ridiculous. Mind you, Scott Jennings did go on to win Man of the Year, and CNN loves Scott Jennings. He is holding that news network together and giving them pretty decent ratings. Now, this next clip, Scott Jennings gets pretty upset.
Look, I know your favorite pastime is to come out here and talk over me, but just please.
I care about the facts. I care about the facts.
The reality is, if you talk to anybody in the energy business, if you talk to anybody,
he says things that are wrong. Well, and I interrupt him because our job is to inform our audience.
I'll just wait.
Hang on 1 second.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Finish
No.
your point.
Look, I play this game every time we come out here. The legitimate answer is he's going to do stuff on energy. He's going to take regulatory shackles off of the energy producers. If you talk to anybody in the energy business who produces, refines, deals with pipelines, this administration, Democrats in Congress, have put shackles on what they can do.
It's so funny to look back and see that CNN was really trying to say that Joe Biden is a better president than Donald Trump when it comes to energy. We all know that's like the Republican and conservative thing. Drill, baby, drill. And I don't know if you guys remember when Donald Trump was the president, the gas prices were rather low. I mean, we almost got under $1 in some states.
Okay, our troops have had a hard time doing it in Afghanistan. Trying to ask them to sort through who's who and implement a policy like this, here in the United States is like nothing we've ever seen. Actually, I mean, hold on, maybe the only precedent we have is internment camps during World War II against Japanese Americans, but there's not a military precedent for sorting through who on the Upper East Side is an illegal and who's not. And you're asking a 19-year-old, right, holding a weapon, who signed up to serve his or her country, to thrust themselves into maybe the most fraught political topic that we've got in this country.
Now, the reason why I'm sort of playing the same theme and narrative of the U.S. military deportations, I truly think, and I hypothesize, this is going to be the #1 negative narrative towards Donald Trump, because we know the mass deportations are coming. These are going to be awesome news headlines. This is going to be politicized, and I think we're going to see this every single day in the very near future as soon as the deportations start happening.
People want a solution, but they don't necessarily want that one.
You twice now insinuated that Trump's going to send the military to round up American citizens, which is totally false. There are 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants in this country today who have already received deportation orders from a court. You can start there. There's another population, as Mark said, that have either committed violent crimes in the United States or committed violent crimes where they came from. You can also do that. That has nothing to do with the people in your neighborhood, has nothing to do with the person in your office, and has nothing to do with whatever the hell you're talking about. It has to do with getting people out of the country who do not belong.
Now, one thing I want to point out is that you also have what's called the Lake and Riley Act. Many people are not aware this is going to be crucial as a law where if an illegal immigrant commits a crime like theft or anything worse than that, essentially the illegal immigrant will then have to be sent away from the United States. This will be the law. So that will sort of fill in the gaps as far as how do you get the rest of illegal immigrants out of the country if they don't have those marching orders to leave or they're not in prison. Well, this law right here, also known really as a common sense law, this will fill in the gap, and this really needs to be passed. So if you are a Democrat or conservative, make sure you are calling your senators to pass this bill.
Inflation will go up. One of the reasons inflation has been lower in the last few years is that we've had a lot more immigration.
Did it go up when Obama deported 5 million people? I think concerns about this are overblown. We've got 1.6 million people with deportation orders right now and another violent population. I mean, I don't think that alone is going to drive up the cost of groceries in the short term. And people want it to happen.
You don't think mass deportations will affect the labor force or agriculture industry?
Or building houses to bring down the
Even
cost
if you're
of
pro
groceries.
it, you have to consider that. I mean,
I think if you exit people that have already have deportation orders from the court, and you exit people who are violent criminals, that is in no way, shape, or form going to hurt the economy, but it just might make people feel a little safer about their communities. Way more than that.
Yeah, this narrative was absolutely wild. Really trying to convince Americans, look, if you kick all of these people out, your inflation's going to go up, houses are going to go up, everything is going to fall apart. Again, I don't think anyone is believing this narrative. That is why Scott Jennings has been on CNN almost every single night trying to destroy these narratives. But I'm playing mostly CNN clips here. This was being talked about throughout all of the more left-leaning publications.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not nice. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up.
And let's be honest, that's how a lot of people felt. Obviously, not only Republicans. Every single time you went to Walmart, every single time you went to McDonald's, the prices are sky high. You're spending no less than $40 on like 4 items. When did McDonald's become a higher middle class place to go and eat? When did Walmart also become for the higher middle class, for the high class? It is ridiculous, and I really think it was the silent majority that nobody knew about that they were actually going to vote for Donald Trump in hopes of a better future, in hopes that we could actually afford to feed our families, ourselves, and live out the American dream.
I think the Democrats in this election made men feel like that the patriarchy is over, boys, and we're going to put you in the back seat for a while, and you're just going to have to accept it without any thought to the ramifications of telling people who are out honestly trying to make a living, provide for their families, be good husbands, be good fathers. When you tell people who are doing their level best that either A, it's not good enough, or B, you're part of the problem. What do you expect? And then finally, as a political tactic, you know, the attempt to put walls on the ticket, and that was going to somehow solve all of the problems that had been built up for years, was ridiculous, because it turns out Walz was the last person that men wanted to hear from. And I remember at the beginning of that whole campaign, when they put him on, I sat right here, and people were like, oh, they got camouflaged hats. They're going to be wearing them in the deer stands this fall. And I think, to your point that you just made, that was not that idea that was not formulated by a bunch of dudes who actually go deer hunting. It was come up with by a bunch of people who've never met a dude that actually goes deer hunting.
If there's one factor that we are all seeming to forget about, one of the biggest reasons why Donald Trump also won is because I don't think anybody wanted Tim Walz as their vice president. And what Scott is referring to is that there was a commercial or an event where Tim Walz went hunting, and his hunting gear looked spotless. And at the very end of the video, he's like, hey, can I get a cold diet Mountain Dew? Name me one person who goes hunting and is like, hey, get me a cold diet Mountain Dew. That is ridiculous. And I'm not even the type to say that guys can't do this or guys can't do that. There are many things that don't affect the masculinity of a man. But asking for a diet Mountain Dew, that's a little embarrassing, considering coming from a veteran, and I'm a veteran myself from the 101st Airborne, that looks crazy. That looks bad.
And a lot of people came out and supported Donald Trump because they felt like they were being lied to by the current administration. They had a real mistrust of the policies that had been instituted. They were upset about the economy. The border was, and I think he's right, the border was really on people's minds for all of the societal impacts of that. And he broke all of the narratives around it that was coming out of the media and coming out of the Democrats and won this huge victory. I think it's earth-shattering what he did, not just for politics, but the way we as Americans receive and process our political information. He kind of bypassed, in some ways, the mainstream media and went right to these alternative media sources, and it turns out his entire strategy around that was correct.
Yep, we tend to forget that Donald Trump was going on all of these podcasts. Obviously, the final nail in the coffin was the Joe Rogan Experience, but you also had Elon Musk pumping out content left and right, supporting Donald Trump. He was on the Theo Von podcast. He was on the Undertaker's podcast. I didn't even know that until like a few days ago. And by the way, you should go watch that. Donald Trump is actually interviewing the Undertaker because he's so impressed with the Undertaker, Mark Calloway. But the point is, a lot of people also forget the reason why Donald Trump won this election is because he took the independent route. Conservatives, Republicans, they're not on the mainstream media. You do have your Fox Newses, but when you look at the totality of media, independent is where you need to go right now. Everybody's on TikTok, on X, on Meta, on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And that is why Donald Trump, again, I really think won the election. And you had people like on CNN and MSNBC making fun of or being very hateful for Donald Trump, and anybody who supported Donald Trump, they were saying that, look, these are not real news anchors. This is not the news. He shouldn't be doing that. And this is why Elon Musk had a very famous quote that said, you are the media, the independent reporters, me and you, no matter what. If you are spewing out some news, you are the media.
With people who support Donald Trump. It's always back to illegal immigration, but that's not the only thing that we're talking about here. We're talking about the American people. We're talking about taking up arms against them with a military that's supposed to be protecting them.
This is not right. You cannot say Donald Trump is sending the military to
round
up.
That's what he said. That is what he is saying, Scott.
That's not what I'm saying.
Totally false.
He said that.
Totally false.
That's what he said.
Scott, Trump.
We were in the fever swamps, Andy. I'm sorry.
What is your dispute here? I'm not even really
because they're saying
that
he's sending the military to shoot or round up American citizens.
We did not say.
Thank you again. If you are still watching this video, I am posting this video before Trump's inauguration, before he's getting sworn in, but a lot of you are probably watching it after the fact. But I think it's important that we see the foundation has already been laid for the lies that are going to be said about Donald Trump. Not only Donald Trump, but if you voted for Donald Trump, a lot of these lies also fall on your shoulders. So again, be prepared to stand for the truth. Put your trust in Jesus Christ, and we're going to get through this. God bless you all. I love you guys, and we have a lot of work to do.